Vagai Sudava.
Dear children, today we will discuss one of the very interesting topic, biotechnology. In biotechnology, we will discuss today chapter 4, Principles and Process of Biotechnology. In this chapter, we will discuss the second half of the portion. The topic what I am going to cover today is methods of gene transfer, screening of recombinants, and genetically modified crops. The first topic, methods of gene transfer. What is a gene transfer? It is the process in which recombinant DNA molecule has been introduced. So where we have to introduce? So we have to introduce in a suitable host. So why we have to introduce this? To get an order to add a desired trait. That means a specific character we have to introduce. So that's why we have to go for gene transfer. Types of gene transfer. Two main types of gene transfer method we are following. Direct or vectorless gene transfer method. Second one is indirect or vector mediated gene transfer method. So in the first method, we are not going to use any vector. In the second method, we are going to use a vector. When come to first, direct or vectorless gene transfer method. So five main types, five main techniques we have to follow or we have to discuss today. One is a chemical mediated, second one is electroporation, third one is microinjection, next one is a biallistic method, then last one is liposome mediator. So these are all those things comes under direct or vectorless gene transfer method. So when come to direct or vectorless gene transfer method, the first one is chemical gene transfer method. In chemical gene transfer method, certain chemicals like polyethylene glycol. Dear students, please mark this polyethylene glycol and dextrane sulfate. These two chemicals we have to use to transfer a specific gene into a plant protoplast. So apart from this, certain other chemical also we may use for gene transfer method like calcium phosphate, DMSO, that means dimethyl sulfoxide, diethylene amino methyl dextrane. These things we may use in a chemical gene transfer method. The next one is liposome mediated gene transfer method. In liposome mediated gene transfer method, artificial phospholipid we have to use. Artificial phospholipid we have to use. Okay, so this artificial phospholipid is encapsulated in a DNA molecule. So with a DNA molecule. So after this, why we have to use this phospholipid liposomes for a gene transfer method means if we use liposomes, so then what will happen during the time of delivery into a protoplast, the damage which is caused by the cytoplasmic region, especially acidic pH and the protease enzymes, that will be protected. So that's why we have to go for liposome mediated gene transfer technique. So this technique is otherwise we call it as liposuction. The next one is electroporation. In electroporation method, so this method is based on charge. So positive charge and negative charge. So here we are applying certain charge. So due to that, what will happen? The pores will be created in a protoplast. So what will happen after the creation of pore? The DNA molecule that will get enter into the cell. So here a high pulse of voltage is applied in a protoplast cell or a tissue. So due to that, what will happen? A transient pore will be produced or made. So DNA molecule will be get uptaken by the protoplast cell. So what is the exact voltage we have to apply here is 1.25 kilovolt per centimeter. So during this we have to add a little bit of polyethylene glycol for fasting this process. So when come to major disadvantage of this process, in this process the major disadvantage is the regeneration of protoplast is little. The next one is microinjection. In microinjection method, the DNA is directly injected into the nucleus of a protoplast cells with the help of a fine tipped glass needles or micropipettes we have to use. So how do we have to immobilize the cells? So immobilizations of the cells will done by certain chemicals like agar we may use, or even a suction holding pipe we may use to facilitate this process. Next one, biallistic gun or gene gun. So several other names are given for this technique. Biallistic gun we may tell, gene gun method, particle bombardment method, particle projectile method. So many names are given to this technique. So one of the efficient technique used in biotechnology for gene transfer is this biallistic gene gun method. So in a ballistic gene gun method, so we have to apply certain pressure. The helium gas we have to use here. So due to this, what will happen, with the pressure of 500 to 1700 psi, so in this pressure, what will happen, the DNA molecule which is coated over the gold or tungsten. So why we have to use gold or tungsten means, the gold molecule or tungsten molecule, it is an inert one. So the coated DNA molecule will be taken here. So and it is placed in a micro projectile disc. So when we apply a direct pressure on the top side of the ballistic, so that will cause a very big bombardment between the molecules. So due to that, what will happen, the micro particle disc will be get ruptured. So due to that, the microparticle that will go and target especially in a tissue. So what we placed in the bottom of the ballistic gun. So due to this, the direct gene transfer will be done. So direct gene transfer technique we may done especially under partial vacuum condition, because in partial vacuum condition, the travel of molecule will be very faster. Next, indirect or vector mediated gene transfer method. So in indirect method, we have to use certain vectors. In the textbook, it is given as TI plasmid is a vector. Mainly we are using for indirect method of gene transfer method. So before going to discuss about TI plasmid, where this TI plasmid we have to obtain from, so that we have to discuss. So TI plasmid, it's mainly we are taking from or isolating from Agrobacterium tumefaciens. So this microorganism is actually a soil gram-negative bacteria, so which causes one of the very important major disease in plant. So that disease we call it as crown gall disease. So this TI plasmid induce a cancer in a plant cell or tumor in a plant cell. So this TI plasmid we may use this as a natural genetic engineer of a plant. So when come to the structure of TI plasmid, so the TI plasmid possesses certain different region, tDNA region, then important one is virulent region. So another one is origin of replication. These three important regions are present in this TI plasmid. So which portion is going to be integrate in a plant system? So especially the tDNA will be cut with the help of some protein which is coded by the virulent region. So that protein that will go and cut a tDNA region, especially from left border and right border, and from that the particular DNA sequence will be go and integrated with the plant cell. So here very clear we will discuss. So in the left side we will see Agrobacterium tumefaciens and a plant cell. So how the infection will be takes place. So initially the Agrobacterium which is present in the soil, so it's cannot able to enter into the plant cell. So when the entry will be takes place means if there is any damage happen in the stem region below or near to the soil region. So due to that damage, what will happen? The damaged cell that will produce a special chemicals. That chemicals we call it as acetosyringon. So it's a kind of a phenolic compounds. So that will go and trigger the virulent gene. So due to that, what will happen? The virulent gene will be get activated and produce virulent products. So that virulent product that will go and dissect, that means cut, especially in the tDNA left border and right border, and a single strand will be transported from a Agrobacterium to the plant cell. So successfully that will the single strand that will go and integrate into the chromosome of the plant cell. So 100% the Agrobacterium that will do it very efficiently. So that's why we have to use this TI plasmid for our gene transfer technique. So in TI plasmid, so what we have to do, so we have to disarm the vector. That means the tDNA portion we have to remove. So instead of that, we have to place our gene of interest. So later then we have to again we have to transform this in an Agrobacterium. So Agrobacterium safely that will go and integrate into a host. That's mean here we are using it's a plant cells or callus tissue, and finally recombinant plant we will produce. The next important topic today we'll discuss is screening of recombinants. In screening of recombinants, certain methods we have to use. The first one is insertional inactivation method. So in insertional inactivation method, the first one is blue-white colony selection. So in blue-white colony selection, the vector, especially we are using is plasmid, University of California, 18. So this is designed especially in this laboratory. So PUC 18 and PUC 19 will be used. So in this plasmid, very specific gene is introduced. So the gene is none but LAC-Z gene. So the LAC-Z gene, why we have to use here means the LAC-Z gene contain multiple cloning site. So multiple cloning site for certain restriction enzymes. So many of the restriction endonuclease we may use for this in this site. So LAC-Z gene. Another one important thing, this will code an enzyme called as beta-galactosidase. So beta-galactosidase. So what actually beta-galactosidase will do? The beta-galactosidase break a chemical substance, especially X-gal chemical, and due to that break, what will happen? The coloration will be occur. So blue color product will be formed. So if we introduce our foreign DNA into the LAC-Z gene, so what will happen? The LAC-Z gene will be get inactivation. So due to that, the blue color product will be not formed. Thus, from this, we may easily identify or recognize which one is a recombinant and which one is a non-recombinant. So in the above slide given, so there is a Petri plate. In this, we may see two colonies are there. One is the blue colony, another one is white colony. In blue colonies, the organisms and white colony organisms. So which one is a transformed one? So white color colonies are a recombinant one. So blue color colonies are non-recombinant. So we have to choose a white color. So using this method, we may easily screen the recombinants. The next one is screening of recombinant clone is antibiotic resistant markers and replica plating technique. Selectable markers, especially ampicillin resistant and tetracycline resistant genes. This way widely used in genetic engineering for especially to identify transformed and recombinant one in an antibiotic containing media. So the other non-transformed cells which doesn't possess this particular plasmid, ampicillin resistant or either tetracycline resistant, that will be automatically eliminated by this antibiotic action. So in a replica plating technique, what we are actually doing, so from the master plate we are taking the replica, and that replica is placing in a normal media, another one with this antibiotic containing media. In normal media, the organism, that means in Luria broth media, the organism will be grow. In antibiotic containing media, those organisms recombinant and transformed one, so that only will be survive. The remaining non-transformed one, that will be killed by the action of antibiotics. The next screening one, we may use a particular protein called as green fluorescent protein, GFP protein. This is 238 amino acid protein. So this particular protein, when it is exposed to a ultraviolet rays or in a fluorescent, so what will happen? This will emit a fluorescent light. So this particular protein, green fluorescent protein, is isolated from a jellyfish known as Aquaria victoria. So in this particular gene has been isolated, and this gene we may use as a reporter marker gene. So in the given slide, we may see in the first top slide, the bacteria is cultured. So in that the bacteria, it was emitting a green fluorescent color. So due to the presence of this green fluorescent protein. And in the second top slide, so we may see certain organisms, especially mice, which one is a transformed, which one is a non-transformed, that will easily identify based on the color. So the mice which emits the fluorescent light in the eye, that is a transformed one. And in the bottom, we may see another one picture, that is Arabidopsis thaliana plant. In this Arabidopsis thaliana plant, the plant region which get transformed with the green fluorescent protein, that will emit a fluorescent light. The non-transformed one doesn't emit the fluorescent light. From this, we may easily detect which one is a transformed one and which one is a non-transformed one. Next, certain molecular techniques we may discuss, which is very useful for biotechnology. First one is agarose gel electrophoresis. In agarose gel electrophoresis, so here we are using one of the very purified compound of agar, that is none but agarose. Agarose are a purified form of agar which is isolated from a red algae, Gelidium gracilaria and Gigardina. From this algae we are using. So here the agarose is a complex molecule. So in this we are using. So electrophoresis, what do you mean by electrophoresis? In electrophoresis, the migration of the charged particle will be takes place from positive to negative or negative to positive. So if we take DNA fragment, DNA is a negatively charged molecule. So due to that, what will happen? The negatively charged DNA molecule, the migration will be takes place from negative to positive. So in agarose gel, what will happen? The migration of the DNA molecule will be takes place based on the molecular size of the DNA. So after completion of this gel running process, we have to visualize the stain. So how we can able to visualize the stain? So we have to use a particular stain, dye called as ethidium bromide. So ethidium bromide is a very carcinogenic chemical we may use in the laboratory. So while handling this ethidium bromide, we have to carefully handle this chemical. Ethidium bromide. So when we use ethidium bromide, so this will emit some light. So especially orange or red color we may visible under UV light. Then if the DNA molecules are too smaller, so then we have to go for polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis for the band separation. The next one is Southern blotting. So in Southern blotting, we may detect whether the particular DNA sample is present or not. So that's why we have to use Southern blotting. In Southern blotting, we may also use this technique in DNA fingerprinting, RFLP technique. So all those things we may using this Southern blotting technique. So how we have to perform this Southern blotting technique? So first method, in first one, we have to take the organism. So from that organism, we have to isolate the DNA molecule. So the entire DNA molecule we have to isolate. So by using a standard DNA isolation procedure like alkaline phosphatase method, mini-prep method, then CTAP method, so many methods are there. So in any one of this method, we may isolate the DNA molecule. So after isolation of this DNA molecule, we have to go for fragment. Why we have to go for fragment? Because the DNA is a very lengthy one. It's a larger molecule. So we have to break the DNA molecule into small fragment with the help of restriction endonuclease. So after breaking of this DNA fragment into small, we have to go for agarose gel electrophoresis. So in agarose gel electrophoresis, we previously discussed, so according to the molecular size, what will happen? The DNA molecule will be migrate from negative charge to positive charge. So according to the DNA molecular size, the fragment separation will be takes place. So up to this agarose gel electrophoresis over. The next we have to go for Southern blotting. In Southern blotting, we have to take the agarose gel and over that a membrane, a filter paper, and especially here the nitrocellulose paper we have to use. So here in nitrocellulose paper, then we have to place some filter paper, then filter paper tissues, then we have to place a very huge weight. So all those things is carried out in a buffer. So what will happen? So after a certain period, the DNA which is present in the agarose gel, that will be go and stick due to the capillary action. So the DNA molecule that will stick into the nitrocellulose paper. So then we have to go for denaturation. So after denaturation by adding some alkaline buffers. So the double standard DNA molecule will be get single standard one. So then we have to go for autoradiography. In autoradiography, the known probe which is coated with radio-labeled compound. So that radio-labeled compound probe we have to use, and we have to pour over the nitrocellulose paper. So what will happen? The probe, wherever the particular DNA sequence is present, that probe go and bind complementary to each other. So under autoradiogram technique, what will happen? A dark spot will be clearly visible. So thus we may perform Southern blotting. Similarly, we may use for Northern blotting too. In Northern blotting, instead of DNA, we have to use RNA. The remaining entire procedure is similar. Next, we come to Western blotting. In Western blotting, we have to use, instead of agarose gel electrophoresis, we have to use polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. So for the separation of protein molecule, the remaining everything is similar. So instead of autoradiogram, we may use antibody. So in protein, in Western blotting technique, protein antibody interactions will be there. So the protein will be separated in a nitrocellulose paper. So that protein will be detected. by antibodies. So, primary antibodies we will add, then followed by a secondary antibody. So, two types of antibody we may use. So, one, it is coated with chemifluorescent substance. So, due to that, what will happen? The light emission will be takes place. So, that we will easily detect whether the particular protein is present in the sample or not. Other things we may use radio labeled antibodies we may also use. So, then we have to go for autoradiography technique. So, western blotting, northern blotting and southern blotting, three important diagnostic techniques we may very well have to study in biotechnology. So, in southern blotting, DNA-DNA interaction is taking place. In northern blotting, RNA-DNA hybridization will taking place. In western blotting, protein-antibody interaction. So, dear students, please kindly note this: DNA-DNA interaction, RNA-DNA interaction and protein-antibody interaction. The next one come to genome editing. So, what do you mean by genome editing? So, genome editing is nothing but we may alter the genetic material of a genome of an organism by either adding or removing or altering at a particular location of a genome, especially where we want to edit. So, there we will do by using this technique, genome editing. So, one of the best genome editing methods so far used in a recent technologies is CRISPR-Cas9 technology. So, CRISPR-Cas9 technology is actually a defense mechanism which is present in a microorganisms. So, microorganism possess this. So, whenever a viral entry will be takes place in a bacteria, so this CRISPR-Cas9 this will be get activated. So, this Cas9 protein that will go and recognize the PAM sequence which is present in the viral DNA, that will go and target this and break the DNA of a or a genome of a virus. So, thus the bacteria will be protected. The same this technique we may use in a genome editing. So, let us take a genome which is a defective one, that means a particular gene is a defective one. So, here we have to use a vector. So, that vector code for a protein called as Cas9 protein, along with donor DNA sequence we have to place, and another one is a guide RNA sequence. Though all those things should be present in a vector, such vector we have to create. So, that vector if is successfully transformed in an organism, so this vector that will produce a Cas9 protein along with a guide RNA. So, if this two will be produced, automatically that will go and recognize where the detective gene is present. So, in the detective gene, this especially this will go and bind in a PAM sequence and finally break the DNA molecule. So, if our technique is successful, means then what will happen? The donor DNA, that means our desired DNA that will be ligated in that region, and finally a transformed organisms will be produced. This is now in up to clinical level. In human cell level it will successfully conducted, in fishes level it is successfully, in bacteria also this is successfully so far done. The next one is RNA interference. RNA interference, otherwise we call it as RNAi. So, every eukaryotic cell, in every eukaryotic cell double stranded RNA will be produced, unfortunately, due to the complementary sequences. So, RNA is a single stranded, we everybody know. Sometime what will happen, the RNA due to the complementary nature that will become a double stranded molecule. So, due to that what will happen, this double stranded RNA is a very harmful to the cell whenever it is present. So, this double stranded RNA, how the cell thus will manage. So, the double stranded region in the that will broken by the two important enzymes or protein, DROSHA and DICER. So, this that will go and trim the RNA if the double stranded RNA is present. So, in that only the small sequence of double stranded that will be transported to the cytoplasm. So, in this double stranded RNA that will go and bound with a RISC complex. So, RISC is nothing but RNA interference silencing complex. So, wherever the double stranded RNA is present, this RISC go and bind and remove one of the strand. So, another one strand is now with a RISC. So, this RISC go and bind with a normal RNA. So, due to this binding with the normal RNA, what will happen? The expression of that particular protein will be stopped. So, the gene express will be totally silenced. So, that is why this RNA is dangerous to the cell. So, this technology we may use in a gene silencing. So, this naturally first of all identified in a plant cell which is eaten by a nematode. So, in nematode what will happen, the plant cell, if the nematode don't eat the plant cell, means this is a small sequence of RNA, double stranded RNA get enter into the nematode. So, in nematode system there is a risk that will go and bind. So, there what will happen, the functional RNA which is present in the nematode will be not functioning, or the expression will be not takes place or silenced. So, due to that what will happen, the nematode, the particular gene expression will be totally silenced by this RNA interference. So, first of all this is identified in nematodes. So, important of this RNAi. So, we may faster identification of gene function by using this RNAi. The next important one is gene therapy. In gene therapy, the down regulation of certain genes and the mutant alleles will be detected. Then this technique is also used in cancer therapy. That means a knockout of a particular gene will be done, or encoding certain key structure for a protein that will be knocked by this RNA interference. Then we will discuss about transgenic crop. In transgenic crop, first one we will discuss about herbicide tolerant plant. So, there are certain herbicides like glyphosate, bipolaps, Basta, so glyphosate, these are all the herbicides normally we are using for to protect from weeds. So, this will go and either inhibit one of the metabolic cycle, or DNA level this will go and target the herbicide gene. So, when come to herbicide tolerant gene, so here a mechanism which is given. So, which in this cycle what will happen, the important amino acid which is essential for the plant like tryptophan, tyrosine and phenylalanine, these are the aromatic amino acid which is essential for the requirement of the plant. So, this amino acid is produced by an enzyme called as EPSP synthase. EPSP synthase, enol pyruvyl cyclimate 3 phosphate synthase. So, this enzymes if it is present, the tryptophan, tyrosine and phenylalanine, this will be produced. So, in certain condition what will happen when we spray with the glyphosate. So, the glyphosate that will go and bind with the enzyme EPSP. So, in the enzyme EPSP this will bind, and finally the enzyme function will be locked. So, the important amino acid tryptophan, tyrosine and phenylalanine, this will be not produced. So, automatically what will happen, the herb will be affected, not only herb, sometime our own plant will be also affected by this mechanism. So, we have to go for an alternate method. So, herbicide tolerant plant we have to definitely create. So, in this case what we have to do, we have to use a EPSP synthase, a mutated gene we have to use. So, that mutated gene is isolated from an organ that is the gene what we are taking is ARO-A gene. So, the mutated gene we have to take and we have to insert in a transgenic plant. So, the mutated gene that will produce a mutated EPSP. So, that mutated EPSP won't be affected by this particular herbicide glyphosate. So, the transformed plant will be survive, and the non-transformed plant will be get affected by the glyphosate chemical, and the transformed cell will be highly survive. So, this we may use as a herbicide tolerant plant. Similar work is also done in certain other genes with BAR, GOX, PPT. So, that herbicide tolerant plants has been produced. Next, insect resistant plant. So, insect is a major problem for the which will cause us a very huge loss in the economy of the country. So, 20%, more than 20% of the economy of the nation will be drastically reduced by the insect when it is infect the plant. So, we are now in the situation to produce an insect resistant plant. How we can able to produce an insect resistant plant? So, here we have to use one of the important gene, Bt gene. So, the Bt gene, note dear student, Bt gene, Bacillus thuringiensis gene. So, this is isolated from that particular bacteria, Bacillus thuringiensis. So, Bt gene we have to isolate, and we have to transform that Bt gene into a plant. So, we have to arise a transgenic plant which possesses Bt gene. So, here what will happen whenever the insect go and bite the plant. So, what will happen, the Bt gene product that is produced in the plant. So, the Bt gene that will express a particular protein called as protoxin. So, it is always in the inactive form. So, that protoxin, whenever it enter into the insect system, especially in the gut region, so the gut region of the insect is always alkaline in nature. So, in alkaline condition, what will happen? The protoxin that become a toxin, and finally that toxic compound that will go and bind with the membrane system of the gut region, and leakage of the ion channel will be done. So, due to that leakage, what will happen? The cell content leakage will be takes place, and eventually the death of the organism. That means the insect should be happen. So, this technique is highly useful for diphtheria, coleoptera, for such kind of insects we may use. So, nowadays Bt cotton variety has been introduced and commercialized, and another one is waiting, Bt brinjal is waiting for commercializing. So, still the government not given yet permission to export that. The next one is delayed fruit ripening. So, the economy of the nation is also getting from the fruit, from exporting from one place to the another place. So, in delayed fruit ripening technique, so here we are using an antisense technology. So, normally what will happen? Well, how the fruit will be ripened and wasted means, so after the fruit formation, the fruit ripening, maturation will be takes place. So, what will happen? The pectic compound which is present, the calcium pectate, that will be get dislocated or digested by the certain enzymes, especially here polygalactonase. So, that will digest the calcium pectate. So, due to that what will happen? The softening of the tissue will be takes place. So, due to that softening of the tissue, what will happen? The fruit will be get easily wasted. So, for if we are going for shipment, so it is not possible for such kind of crop. So, if we apply a delayed fruit ripening technique, antisense technique here. So, in antisense technique, so we have to use an antisense gene, especially for polygalactonase enzyme. So, anti-PG gene we have to insert in a crop variety. So, especially if you take a tomato here, so in this tomato anti-PG gene has been transformed. So, the sense PG gene will be produced by the plant, and the anti-PG gene also produced another one strand. So, both the strand will be complementary to each other, and finally, the gene function will be not takes place. So, the particular gene expression will be not takes place, polygalactonase will be not produced, thus the shelf life period of the plant will be extended. The next important one we will discuss is nutrient quality. How to improve the nutrient quality? So, here one of the example we taken is a golden rice. So, in golden rice, so the nutrient quality of the golden rice has been improved by introducing a very important gene which will express beta carotene. So, beta carotene, why we are especially very important means beta carotene is a precursor molecule for vitamin A. So, vitamin A production will be takes place if we consume beta carotene more. So, the night blindness, so eye related problems, xerophthalmia like this we may treat by using this if we consuming this kind of golden rice. So, here what the technology they use. So, here the three important gene they isolated and transformed in the crop variety. So, one gene is PSY, that is synthesized phytotin synthase. So, this gene is isolated from daffodil plant. Another one that will produce CRIT1. So, this gene will isolated from Erwinia bacteria, and another one is a like gene. So, this like gene that will produce lycopene cyclase. So, this is isolated from the especially endosperm of a wild rice. So, all those three gene has been cloned in a vector and finally introduced in the plant, rice plant. So, where this beta carotene will be expressed, whether it is expressed in the entire plant region or whether this will express only in the shoot or in root. So, this system it's make, so the expression of this particular beta carotene especially done at the endosperm of the rice plant. So, in a endosperm that expression will be takes place. So, that endosperm only we are consuming. So, let here see the picture that golden rice and a normal rice, we may easily differentiate. Normal rice it's whitish in color, and the golden rice is appear very golden in color. So, this is a very important commercially we have to consume for The next one, biofuel. If you take biofuel, so algal fuel we will use as a biofuel. So it's one of the alternate fuel for a fossil fuel. So now the entire nation, it's depend on the petroleum product only. So we have to switch over alternate methods like biofuel. So biofuel, especially certain algae we may use. So one of the good algae, Brotiococcus browni. So this algae, it's contain a very rich oil. So from this algae we may produce more number of biofuels, especially from a substrate with the corn and sugar cane substrate we may use for the production of biofuel. So this biofuel where we have to use, especially this biofuel we may use in the glycerin industry, renewable fuel, existing more technology for the production of oil, certain oil extraction, biodiesel production. So all those things we may use this biofuel. The next one, biological hydrogen production. So biological hydrogen is another fuel we may use as a cylinders. So if you take an algae, so a Chlamydomonas reinhardti, so usually algae that will produce oxygen when photosynthesis will be takes place. So this is a normal phenomena. In photosynthesis, oxygen is a byproduct which is liberated. Sometime what will happen due to the deficiency in sulfur, this particular algae, Chlamydomonas reinhardti, instead of liberating the oxygen, this will start liberate the hydrogen molecule as a gas. So usually in photosynthesis, the final H2 acceptor is NAD reductase that will form NADPH2. So in light reaction that is taking place. So when come to here in this, so instead of NADP reductase, so hydrogenase enzyme, ferredoxin hydrogenase enzyme will accept this two molecule of hydrogen and liberated it as a gas. So this gas we may use for we may use it as a fuel. Next we will discuss certain need based questions. The first question, in agarose gel electrophoresis, visualization of DNA is done by which strain? So here several strain is given: safranin, astacaramine, crystal violet, ethidium bromide. Several questions, several options is given. Safranin, astacaramine, these two strains are used for nuclear staining. Crystal violet, this is used for a bacterial staining technique. So the remaining one is ethidium bromide. In previously we discussed, ethidium bromide is a highly carcinogenic chemical. So this chemical we are using for visualization of a DNA molecule. So the option given is ethidium bromide, option D. Then the second question, many plasmids have ampicillin resistant marker genes. This implies many plasmids have ampicillin resistant marker gene. Dear students, kindly read the question 1 or 2 times, then only you can able to understand. So what the question means. So why plasmid possess ampicillin resistant marker gene? This is the question given here. So the options are: ampicillin is used to identify cell survival. Ampicillin is an antibiotic. So by we can able to use the cell survival, but the question is ampicillin resistant marker. The next option is ampicillin resistant gene synthesize ampicillin. Ampicillin resistant gene, it doesn't synthesize ampicillin, it go and break the ampicillin molecule. The third option is plasmid contain the gene encodes beta lactamase. So this is the correct one. The ampicillin resistant marker gene that will code a particular enzyme called as beta lactamase. This will go and break the ampicillin molecule. Then the last one we will see, ampicillin is required for the bacterial growth after transformation. So when we are performing transformation, we need ampicillin, but here the correct answer is C. The plasmid contain the gene coding beta lactamase. The next question, which one of the following techniques made it possible to genetic engineer living organisms? So once again I am reading the question, which one of the following techniques made it possible to genetically engineer living organisms? So the option given are here: recombinant DNA technology, X-ray diffraction, heavier isotope labeling, hybridization. When come to the first, recombinant DNA technology, yes, we may go for genetically recombinant, we are modifying an organism, so GMOs will produce. So, okay. Then second one comes X-ray diffraction. X-ray diffraction is a method in which we may view the crystal surface, 3D surface of the crystal, that we may do. Then the next one is heavier isotope labeling. In autoradiography, we may use this heavier isotope labeling, but we may not go for any genetic engineer. Then hybridization. In hybridization, southern blotting, western blotting, northern blotting, we are going. But the exact answer for this question is recombinant DNA techniques. The next question, choose the correctly matched. So, 4 options are given. Which one is the correctly matched, that we have to know. So, 3 options are wrong. So, Agrobacterium tumefaciens, the option given is tumor. Okay. Then Thermus aquaticus, BT gene, PBR322 enzymes, DNA ligase, molecular scissors. Okay. We will discuss from bottom to top. DNA ligase. If you take this DNA ligase is not a molecular scissor, it is actually a molecular glue, we call it as. It will join the 2 DNA molecule and produce a phosphodiester bond. Next, PBR322. PBR322 is a vector, it is not an enzyme. It is an artificially constructed vector in a laboratory by Bolivar and Rodriguez. In this lab, particularly this is constructed. Then Thermus aquaticus. Thermus aquaticus is an organism. So, from this Thermus aquaticus, mostly we are using a Taq DNA polymerase. So, this polymerase enzyme we are highly using in PCR. The next one is Agrobacterium tumefaciens. So, Agrobacterium tumefaciens in the class schedule we discussed. So, that will produce a crown gall disease. That means a tumor like substance which is formed in the plant cell. So, the correct option is option A, Agrobacterium tumefaciens, tumor. Next, in direct gene transfer method, the minute particles used in bialistic technique is, that means in gene gun technique, what is the minute particle we are using? So, what is the minute particle in which the DNA we are coating? And the option given is gold or tungsten, tungsten or zinc, iron or calcium, magnesium or molybdenum. So, 4 option is given. So, in bialistic gun, one of the precious metals are using, which is an inert one, it never react with any other molecule. So, that is why the important minute particle here we are using is gold or tungsten. Next, this is a reason and assertion type question. Carefully read and carefully give the answer, dear students. So, in assertion, if a foreign gene is inserted into a lac-Z gene. So, carefully once again I am reading, in a lac-Z gene what is they are doing? They are inserting a foreign gene. So, this gene will be inactivated. Yes, definitely due to the insertion of a lac-Z gene, what will happen? The inactivation of the gene will be takes place. So, therefore, no blue color will be developed. So, the assertion given is exactly correct, because due to the insertion of a foreign DNA into a lac-Z gene, what will happen? The beta galactosidase enzyme will be not produced. So, that beta galactosidase not produced means that does not go and react with X-gall chemical and no blue coloration will be formed. So, the assertion is accurate answer. The next one come to reason. Beta galactosidase break a synthetic substrate called X-gall into a blue color product. So, the option assertion and reason both are the correct answer for the question. So, the answer for this question is both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation for assertion. Next question, match the following type questions is given here. Southern blotting once in A side and B side. If you take in A side southern blotting, western blotting, northern blotting and autoradiographic technique. In the other side RNA, protein, radio label probe and DNA is given here. So, let us take, we have to match southern blotting. So, southern blotting what we are doing, DNA hybridization we are doing. So, thus for southern blotting DNA is the answer. When come to western blotting we are doing protein and antibody hybridization. So, the option for western blotting is protein. When come to northern blotting, so northern blotting RNA DNA hybridization is done. So, especially we may detect the specific RNA present in the given sample. Then autoradiography, in autoradiography labeled probe we are using. So, especially radio labeled probe. So, the option for this question for southern blotting option, the option is D. That means southern blotting DNA, western blotting protein, northern blotting RNA, autoradiography radio labeled probe. Next question. Recent techniques allow genetic material to be added, removed or altered at a particular location in a genome for genome editing or gene editing. So, very good question is given here. So, the recent technique, so in which we may go for genome editing. So, the options given are CRISPR-Cas9, RNA interference, genome sequencing, RNA induced silencing complex. Okay. So, we will discuss from the bottom to top. RNA inducing silencing complex. RNA inducing silencing complex, otherwise we call it as a RISC complex. This will recognize the double stranded RNA if it is present in the cell. That is dangerous. So, that will go and remove one of the strand, and that will go sense, that means that will silence the functional RNA. So, this it will do. Then come to genome sequencing. In genome sequencing, this is a technique by which the entire genome of an organism we are sequencing. We are not going to add or remove any genes. Now, RNA interference, that means that will interfere a functional RNAi technology. The first one is CRISPR-Cas9. So, this is the exact answer. By using this technique, we may add or we may remove or we may alter a particular genome of an organism. So, recent technique. So, the answer is A, CRISPR-Cas9 technique. The next one, RNA interference is seen in. So, the 4 option was given. So, in which organism this RNA interference is seen? Plant feeding nematodes, plant feeding bacteria, plant feeding insect, plant feeding fungi. So, we discussed previously, first nematode, whenever it will go and feed the plant cell, what will happen in the plant cell? The RNA interference, that means the short double stranded RNA get entered into the nematode and go and finally stop the functional RNA. So, RNA interference will be done. So, the correct option for this question is RNA feeding, plant feeding nematodes, option A. Next, BAR and PPT genes were introduced into transgenic plant for the purpose. So, BAR and PPT genes. So, we have to know what is the important function of these two transgenic genes, BAR and PPT. This genes, from this we may produce a herbicide tolerant plant, herbicide resistant plant we may produce by using this particular genes, PPT, phosphonotyrosine deactivating genes. So, the option is insect resistant, herbicide tolerant, antimicrobicidal, viral resistant. So, the correct option for this is herbicide tolerant plant. The next, in flower saver tomato, antisense gene technology was carried out by using agrobacterium mediated gene transfer. This gene interferes the production of which enzyme? Okay. So, when come to antisense gene technology, especially delayed fruit ripening, the polygalactonase enzyme usually that will go and softening the pectic compound which is present in the cell. So, due to that what will happen? The cell will be get softened. So, which enzyme do this? That is the question. Okay. So, and which gene we have to go for silencing here? So, we have to introduce antisense technology, especially anti-PG gene we will introduce. So, that anti-PG gene doesn't produce, doesn't allow to produce polygalactonase enzyme. So, from this option, polygalactonase is the correct answer. Next, molecular forming. Molecular forming, otherwise we call it as bioforming. Okay. So, molecular forming is the production and use of transgenic plant, genetically engineered to produce pharmaceutical substance for human use. Identify an example for such molecular forming. Okay. So, the molecular forming definition is given clearly. Genetically engineering crops we are creating, and we are using the pharmaceutical substance from that transgenic plant. So, here what is the transgenic molecular forming plant we have to identify. Okay. So, the option A is golden rice, option B is a flower saver tomato, option C is BT crop, option D is tissue cultured obtained banana. If you take a golden rice golden rice beta carotene content is present. So, it is one of the pharmaceutical chemical which is a precursor molecule for vitamin A, and due to that what will happen, the night blindness and the eye related disease will be cured. Okay. So, next Flava Saver tomato. Flava Saver tomato is a delayed fruit ripening crop variety. So, antisense technology is applying here. In BT crops, this especially for insect resistant, then tissue culture obtained banana. So, normal banana is rising from this tissue culture. Okay. So, the exact answer for this question is golden rice. So, golden rice in this beta carotene is a pharmaceutical substance which are producing. The next one, which one is related to electrophoresis? Okay. So, electrophoresis, that means the option, we will discuss the option. Germination of seeds have been induced by applying high volt which prevent the entry of water. Okay. So, the question is totally the option given is irrelevant. So, electrophoresis, we are not applying for any seed germination plant, and we are not applying any high voltage to stop the entry of water. Okay. The next one, an unstable pore has been created for recombinant gene transfer via plasma membrane. Okay. So, usually in electrophoresis we are applying certain volt of current, that means a certain pulse of electricity we are applying. So, due to that what will happen, an unstable pore will be produced. So, due to that unstable pore what will happen, the recombinant gene, that means a plasmid or a vector what we created, that will easily get transformed into that via plasma membrane. So, this is the correct option. The next, purification of saline water by using artificial membrane. So, saline water we are not using our purification, so that reverse osmosis is done, but here the electrophoresis we are not applying. So, the last one is using electro-osmosis. Sucrose has been transported through sieve tubes. So, sucrose usually that will transport through sieve tubes, we know. After photosynthesis, the sucrose is a substrate which is transported instead of glucose or starch. Only sucrose is transported via sieve tubes in a phloem. So, the exact answer for this question is option B, an unstable pores has been created for recombinant gene transformation via plasma membrane. The next question, the green fluorescent protein that exhibits bright green fluorescent when exposed to ultraviolet rays, this protein is isolated from. Okay. So, green fluorescent protein is a protein, reporter protein, we simply call it as. So, after the successful transformation, the organism whenever exposed under ultraviolet ray or any fluorescent light, so the emission of light will be takes place. So, where this green fluorescent protein GFP protein is isolated, the question is Aquaria victoria, Pseudomonas putita, Agrobacterium tumefaciens, Entamoeba histolytica. In this 4 option, GFP protein is isolated from which organism? Aquaria victoria. The correct answer is A, Aquaria victoria. The next one, during the process of DNA isolation, chilled ethanol is added to. Okay. So, this is a practical one. So, during DNA isolation technique, the final step we are using ethanol. So, why we have to use that ice cold ethanol? Especially we want to precipitate the DNA molecule from the solution. So, during DNA isolation, so we have to use detergents, we have to use salts. So, with the help of that salt, we have to digest the tissue sample and we have to go for certain heating. So, finally, what will happen? The extract will be get. So, the filtrated extract contain DNA, but it is not visible to our eye. So, how to precipitate the DNA molecule? So, if we add the precipitate molecule of a DNA, that means if we add into a chilled ethanol, what will happen? The DNA gate will be precipitated and a thread like appearance will be seen. That will be spooling we will do. Okay. So, here the option is precipitated DNA, break open the cell to release DNA, facilitate action of restriction enzymes, remove proteins such as histones. Okay. So, the correct and accurate answer for this is precipitate DNA. The next question, analysis of chromosome DNA using Southern blotting technique does not use. Okay. So, here 4 option is given regarding with the sudden hybridization. So, which one of the following is not used in sudden hybrid? That is the question. So, kindly read the question once or twice, dear students. So, here the question is not used. So, in southern hybridization, okay, let us will discuss the option electrophoresis, blotting, autoradiography, PCR. Okay. So, electrophoresis definitely we are using. For electrophoresis only we are running the DNA molecule. According to the molecular size, the band separation will be takes place. Then we will discuss about blotting. In blotting, with the help of nitrocellulose paper, we are blot the DNA hybridization molecule. Then autoradiography, here at the final step for the detection of the particular DNA molecule, the probe DNA we are using. In using autoradiography. So, all these first three techniques we are using in southern hybridization. PCR is we are not using in southern hybridization. PCR is a polymerase chain reaction used especially for amplification of the DNA molecule. So, firstly desired DNA molecule we may go for amplify using this. So, the exact answer which one is not used is PCR. The remaining three will be used: electrophoresis, blotting and autoradiography. The next question: in which situation during photosynthesis the algae Chlamydomonas reinhardti releases hydrogen gas as a biological hydrogen production? Okay, in biological hydrogen production we discussed the remaining the algae usually in light reaction what it will do. In light reaction, especially non-cyclic photophosphorylation, the hydrogen acceptor is NADP reductase. So, in Chlamydomonas reinhardti, whenever this will under a certain starvation condition, this will start producing hydrogen. So, the question is, in which situation the hydrogen production will be takes place? So, the options are deprive of iron. Deprive means a deficiency of iron. Okay. Deprive of sulfur, deprive of calcium, deprive of magnesium. So, the correct option for this is whenever the deprive of sulfur condition, if the sulfur is not available in a medium, so the particular algae that start producing hydrogen instead of oxygen. So, the correct option is B, deprive of sulfur. The next one, in golden rice, 3 genes, namely Psi, CRIT1, like those 3 genes we are using in golden rice. Okay, everybody we know. So, has been successfully transformed to produce precursor molecule of vitamin A. Okay. So, beta carotene is a precursor molecule which will produce vitamin A. Okay. The next, the accumulation of beta carotene is at. So, where the the accumulation of beta carotene will be takes place. Okay. The options given: entire plant of the rice, root system, shoot system, or endosperm of rice. Okay. So, from this 4 option, so if the accumulation of beta carotene into entire rice plant, that is not used for mankind, because only the little portion, that means the rice portion only we are consuming. We are not going to use entire plant for our food source. Okay. So, the next one is the root system, we are not using shoot system, especially the rice only we are using. So, endosperm of the rice. So, we humans only depending on the endosperm of the rice. So, that only we are consuming as a food source, as a carbohydrate source. So, if the expression of the beta carotene takes place only in the endosperm, that will be very useful for us. So, the correct option, in golden rice, the accumulation of beta carotene especially takes place in the endosperm of rice. So, the option is D, endosperm of rice. The next question, which one of the following gene is well known for herbicide resistant activity? Okay. So, herbicide resistant activity, the question given is, so what are the genes which involving herbicide resistant activity? So, CRY1A. So, if you take a CRY1A, this is a gene which is isolated from Bt genes, Bacillus thuringiensis organism, especially to create a insect resistant plant. So, the question given is herbicide resistant plant. Okay. The next one is PSY, CRIT1 and like gene. Okay. So, these 3 genes are introduced to produce a beta carotene content, okay, for treatment of night blindness like this. So, next, Barnas and Barstar. This is the exact and correct answer for this. So, using Bar gene, Barnas and Barstar, this gene, then PPT gene, so many other genes are there. So, from this we may produce a herbicide resistant plant. The last one is none of the above. So, the option and correct answer for this is C, Barnas and Barstar gene. The next one, next question, in chemical gene mediated gene transfer method, which of the following chemicals were used for direct gene transfer? calcium chloride, agarose, polyethylene glycol, or X-gal. Okay, so here calcium chloride is used for competent cell preparation. We are not using this chemical for a gene transfer. The next one is agarose. Agarose is used for electrophoresis to band separation according to their molecular weight. The next one is a polyethylene glycol. If you take a polyethylene glycol, it's actually a viscous chemical. So using this viscous chemical, we may fuse to protoplast, so that we will do using this, and for especially this are highly used in gene transfer technique, polyethylene glycol, PEG. So the next one is X-gal. X-gal is used for selective identification of a recombinant. So the exact and accurate answer for this question is option C, polyethylene glycol. Dear students, so far we discussed so many questions relevant to our topic. So please prepare for your upcoming examination. Thank you, student. Thank you very much.
இந்நிகழ்ச்சியை பற்றிய தங்களின் மேலான கருத்துக்களை கீழ்க்கண்ட முகவரிக்கு கடிதம் மூலமாகவோ மின்னஞ்சல் மூலமாகவோ குறுஞ்செய்தி மூலமாகவோ தெரியப்படுத்தலாம். அனுப்ப வேண்டிய முகவரி சிறப்பு அலுவலர், கல்வி தொலைக்காட்சி, 8ஆம் தளம், அண்ணா நூற்றாண்டு நூலகம், காந்தி மண்டப சாலை, கோட்டூர்புரம், சென்னை 6085. தொலைபேசி எண் 7824015000.